So this is our appraisal project, and our group was Joe Santone, Sam Lelio, Chris Byrne, Jacob Van Brunt, me, Kyle Gonzalez, and Michael Hickman. And for our appraisal, we chose to use the town of Basking Ridge, New Jersey. This is our subject property. It's a single-family home on Harcourt Lane in Somerset County. Next slide. Here are some interior photos of our subject property, and as you can see, it's a beautiful three-bed, three-bath home with hardwood floors and granite countertops. This property was last sold in 1997 for $335,000, and that value has since been appraised to $738,000. So you can see a massive increase in value over the past 24 years. Next. Here we can see some exterior photos of the property. The property sits on about an acre of land, and there's a small creek and full back deck, perfect for outdoor entertainment. Next slide. So Basking Ridge is only an hour drive from New York City, making it the perfect suburban location for commuting workers. Looking at some other landmarks, we can see that it is close proximity to Newark International Airport, the Great Swamp National Wildlife Refuge, Times Square, Morristown Medical Center, Jockey Hollow, the Raptor Trust, Bridgewater Commons, and others. Next slide. So taking a look at the market analysis for Basking Ridge, we can see that home prices is actually trending down by about 4.8% per year. But this makes now a great time to buy while prices are dropping as they're expected to rise again in the near future. Looking at demographics, we can see that 58.7% of the residents in Basking Ridge are currently married, and 25.1% of the population has never been married. In addition, it is estimated that about 36% of the population over the age of 25 have a bachelor's degree, and 38% of the population living in this zip code have a professional or graduate degree.
And as we move into, I guess, further into the project, we go to the zoning map, and you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see that Basking Ridge is located. It's in the area that it's zoned is fully residential, so there's no potential for a high rise or anything in the area. And as we move to the next slide, we can kind of go back over what Kyle just said. The house was built in 1964. 2,500 square feet, sits on just less than an acre, and it's 3 beds and 3 baths. Although it did have a major remodel in '96, and then it was sold just after that remodel for $335,000, and it's listed at $738,000. The sales history, like I said, it was sold for $335,000 in 1997. It's currently under contract for $738,000, which is a 120% increase since the last time it was sold. And so now, as we go to look at our comparable houses, the first thing, our criteria for selecting them was it had to be a single family home. It had to be at least 3 bedrooms and 3 baths. It had to be in Somerset County. It had to have somewhere around 1 acre of land with a backyard deck. And we put it in the price range of $650,000 to $900,000. For our first property is 19 Byron Drive in Basking Ridge. It's listed at $729,000, so very similar price, but it's 4 bedrooms and 4 baths, so a little bigger, but same square footage, same lot size. But it was built in 1963, which is before our subject property, and it hasn't had a remodel since then. As we move to comparable property number 2, the address is 393 Mountain Road in Basking Ridge. This one is listed at a little higher price at $815,000, and it was built in 1972, so it's a little newer, but same amount of bedrooms and bathrooms, although it's a little bit of a smaller house at 2,256 square feet, but it does sit on 3 acres compared to 1. Our third comparable property is 90 Church Street in Basking Ridge. The sales price, it's listed at $675,000, which is a little less, but it was built in 1790. So this house is over 200 years old, and it's 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. It has had a remodel since then, but it's still an old house. And it's a much larger house with 5 bedrooms at almost 4,000 square feet. And the lot is just a little bit larger at 1.4 acres. And then for comparable property number 4, the address is 33 North Maple Avenue. It's listed at a little less than what our subject property is at $695,000. It was built in '89, so slightly newer. 4 bedrooms, but only 2 bathrooms. It's a slightly larger home at 2,900 square feet and a slightly larger lot at 2.5 acres. And then for our final comparable property on 68 Haas Road in Basking Ridge, it was built in 1916, so it's much older than our subject property. It's currently listed at $725,000, so almost an identical listing price. 4 bedrooms and 4 baths, so a little larger and a few more rooms, but it's 500 square feet smaller and on a very similar lot size at 0.92 acres. Oh, and there's one more comparable property at 238 Lake Road in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. This one is listed at $890,000, so a lot more than our subject property. It was built in 1965, so almost the same year, 1 year newer than our subject property. 1 more bedroom with the same amount of bathrooms, but the square footage is 700 more square feet than our subject property, and it's a very similar size lot at 1.2 acres.
We have a table describing the different prices, years built, lot size, square footage, bedrooms, and bathrooms of the different houses. We calculated the minimum price, the average price, the median price, and the maximum price. Some differences that you'll see here in some of the properties that we have with the minimum price and maximum price. The maximum price has been built much more recently, and the lot size is much larger. The square footage is also much larger, and you'll see the maximum price comparison has 5 bedrooms as opposed to 3, and 4 bedrooms as opposed to bathrooms opposed to 2. These are just some things that go into the pricing of different houses. And it's important to look at these when going through this type of appraisal work. And here we have a bit of a more detailed table describing each of the comparisons that we had and how their different adjustments and things such as that applied to their price. Since there's so much on this table, I'm just going to go over the averages that were found for all these lots and compare them to what we have with the one that we chose. So the average bedrooms is 3.86. The average bathrooms is 3.29. The average square footage is 2,772.71 feet. The lot size in acres is 1.58. The year built is an average of 1908.43. Obviously, from what you can see, this is a very old town, has a lot of old houses. The garage size, it fits about 2.57 cars. There's no average for a major remodel. Sales price is about $752,428.57. So we are a tiny bit below average with the pricing of our property. And the price in square footage per square footage is $284. And then we move on to adjustments. We have bedrooms where the average price is $36,000. Bathrooms, $22,500. Square feet is $38,180. Lot sizes, $163,350. Years built, $129,666. Garage, $84,000. Adjusted sales price, $630,333, and price per square foot is $227.33. This table is just a larger description of what the previous table had, but it's in more detail with all the properties that we had before. The average sale price without the subject is $618,474.30, and the average price per square foot without the subject is $219.46. Just to read through the sales comparison adjustments. Bedrooms, according to the Clever Real Estate, the addition of each bedroom has the ability to increase the value of your home by $30,000 to $50,000. For comparables that had more bedrooms, we subtracted $30,000 for each extra bedroom. We added $30,000 for each bedroom that is less than the subject property's number of bedrooms. For bathrooms, according to HGTV, the addition of each bathroom has the ability to increase the resale value of a home by up to double the amount a bedroom is capable of. We adjusted for each additional bathroom in the comparable properties by adding or subtracting $45,000 from each comparable property. For square footage, through multiple sources on the internet, we gathered that the extra square footage will add approximately $100 of value to a property selling price. With this information, we can adjust the comparable properties based on their square footage by multiplying the difference of square footage between the subject property and each comparable by $100. The lot size, to adjust for the change in home value based on the lot size, we had to determine the difference in lot size, acres, between the subject property and each of the comparable properties. Once this was determined, we multiplied what we found by the value of the land of the subject property. For year built, we determined that the value of a home goes up by $2,000 for every year after the subject property was built, and decreases by $2,000 for every year built before the subject property. The adjustment calculation was made by multiplying 2,000 by the amount of years separating the dates the subject property was built for each comparable property. And finally, we move on to garages, where according to Pocket Sense, the average increase of a home's value from adding a garage space is $21,000. There was only one comparable property that did not match the same amount of garage spaces. This comparable property has 4 more spaces than our subject property. So we subtracted $84,000 to adjust this aspect. Finally, after assigning weights to each comparable property in relation to their similar characteristics, the indicated value of our subject property from the sales comparison approach is $618,474.30.
So here we have our cost approach. To calculate the cost approach, or the value given by the cost approach, we take the estimated replication cost of the house at $689,319 and subtract the depreciation on the house over its life, which gives us the depreciation cost of the building. And then from there, we add the estimated value of the site of $87,951.74. And therefore, we calculate the value given by the cost approach of $432,611.
Now we're going to look at the income approach. The property value estimates for the subject property for the income approach was through the direct capitalization method and the discounted cash flow method. These were calculated under the assumption that the intended use for the property was to produce income. Although the income approach for this single-family home doesn't hold much weight in the final appraisal, it is valuable to be thorough and considerate when evaluating any type of property. The direct capitalization method was the first method we used under the income approach. This calculation first uses potential gross income. We used the Department of Numbers to find our median monthly rent of $1,633. which we then multiplied by 12 months to determine our potential gross income of $19,596. After we found the maximum amount our property could produce income for, we had to subtract any vacancy and collection loss, as well as add back any miscellaneous income. Our vacancy rate in Somerset County we found to be 2.97%. We applied this to our PGI by multiplying 19,596 by 0.0297, which equals $582. We did not have any miscellaneous income because our property is not intended to be income producing. We then had to subtract the vacancy and collection loss from the potential gross income to get an effective gross income of $19,014. After this first calculation, we had to subtract any operating expenses and capital expenditures in order to get our net operating income. Our operating expenses was just our average annual maintenance of $2,053. And we did not have any capital expenditures. The final step was to subtract our operating expenses of $2,053 from our effective gross income of $19,014, which gave us a net operating income of $16,961. To find our price estimate for the direct capitalization method, we had to divide our net operating income by the market capitalization rate. The price was estimated to be $233,301.24. The next income approach method was the discounted cash flows method. For the discounted cash flows method, it was assumed that our holding period was for 10 years with zero growth in operating income over said years. Our net operating income was our cash flow for the 10 years. This number was $16,961. The estimated value of the property using the direct capitalization method was used as the final selling price for the property after the designated holding period. This number was $233,301.24. Each year's cash flow was discounted by 4.679%, which was found from the external source bankrate.com. Upon summing each present value of cash flow from all 10 years, we got the results of a discounted cash flow value of $280,714.11 for our subject property.
So now as we come to the final appraisal estimated value, you can see that we made a table that had the three main approaches that we used, which were the sales comparison, the cost, and the income with the direct capitalization and the discounted cash flows. As my partner said before, we had indicated values of $618,474.30 using the sales comparison, $432,611.24 using the cost approach, $233,301.24 using the direct capitalization approach, and $280,714.11 using the discounted cash flows approach. Now, when it comes to the certain amount of weight that we use for each approach, since our subject property was compared to 6 other properties, we thought that that would hold a lot of weight when making our final appraisal. So we assumed and we came together to find that the weight would be 70%. When it comes to the income approach, since this property that we found was a residential home and it wasn't used more for generating income, we thought that that would have each method of the income approach be around 5%, so a total of 10. And then in the end, we had the cost approach come in at about 20%. So since those came up to 100% total, our reconciled final estimate of value came out to be $545,000, $545,155.03.
So finally, we're going to talk about how the COVID-19 crisis has affected real estate. So COVID-19 has affected the world drastically on an economic level, and more importantly, on a health level. Along with this, its effect on real estate has also been substantial. Within the first 2 months of COVID-19, residential home sales decreased by 45% because there were far less people leaving their current homes. Because of this, there was an even stronger decline in urban and suburban areas. We have not seen a crisis like this in real estate since the years 2007 to 2009, when there was a current crisis in the economy. This pandemic has surely opened many eyes and will change how homeowners prioritize their needs, as they will be looking for homes with a lot more caution.